Hi there, this is Cool Dude Clem. Just doing a quick little video here, although it will probably end up being 1,000,000 hours long like my videos often do these days. Anyway, I recently got a message from a Donkey981 about my graphics card, and this person has gone through the trouble of trying to find me a good Windows XP driver for my graphics card, and, well, thanks for taking out the time and the trouble to do that. However, I have installed those drivers, and as you might be able to tell, it still have a few little problems. When I go into properties, again, I'm still just stuck at 720 by 480, but I have recently found a little workaround for this. If I go into advanced and go into monitor and uncheck this thing that says hide modes this monitor cannot display, I can now select whatever resolution I need. So I'll select 1280 by 720 because that's the resolution I like to run this at, and as you can see, now it is set at the resolution that I want it to be. However, go into games, let's say, just go into Sonic Generations because that's the first thing that's on there. Still, the highest resolution I can select in games is still only 720 by 480. I mean, I would like to play Sonic Generations on Windows 7, but I just simply don't have enough memory for that. However, I should be getting some money to upgrade this computer soon, so I should be able to do these things on Windows 7. Let's just reboot the computer and show that it will keep that resolution that I selected. So I'll restart it. Don't know if you could hear that, but the sound also works. I'm going to turn the TV's volume up so next time it boots you'll be able to hear it. Okay, so here we are in my boot menu. You can see I've got Windows 7 on here and earlier version of Windows, which is Windows XP. So I'll just select that and let it load up. Windows XP is about to start. There we go. And as you can see, it's in the stayed at the resolution I want. Still able to select the resolutions with the thing. I'm going to settings and you can see right there, but I'm not going to change that because that's at the resolution I want it. And games do work. I might just as well load up Sonic Generations to show you. If I can find it, of course. There we are. Right down there at the bottom. As you can see, game loads up and the 3D hardware is all working. But enough about that. Okay, well here we are in my Windows 7 desktop now. Just to show that this is Windows 7, I'm using my pictures as my desktop background if you're wondering what's going on. But to prove this, I'll just go into Windows, into the control panel thingy. So you can see anyway, just to show you that everything is working, everything does work pretty good on the Windows 7, with the Windows 7 drivers on Windows 7 obviously. Firstly, I'll show you that I have got the Spectrum Emulator working, believe it or not. Except I'm not using Spectaculator or whatever the hell it was called, I'm using ZXspin. But let's say, load up Jet Set Willy. Well, whatever, you can tell. That music depresses me. So that's working. Also, the Nintendo 64 emulator. Now, I can't remember who gave me this link, but someone gave me a link to version 1.7, and although this version is not compatible with Blast Corps, which is one of my favourite Nintendo 64 games, This thing now works. I can click on any game. It's got this icon on it. Actually, I haven't tried Charlie Blast's Territory yet. What's the bet? And that's one of the games that's not going to work with this version of it. Okay, it's working with no problem. And this is I'm actually running this in high definition. Seems to be a very small sound in the back. But just to prove this, what I'm saying, oh, now the sound's going to come in really loud, isn't it? Just because I'm trying to talk over it. Going to graphics plugin. I can go all the way up to 1920 by 1080, but I'm just going to leave it on 1280 by 720 for now. Also, I don't like the way this squeezes the aspect ratio into the 4:3. I like it to fill the screen, so I'll just fix that. And there we are. This is playing at 1280 by 720. And that looks really, really good. You can't really tell on the camera, but that is a really crisp and clear image. Also, the PlayStation emulator. I've got a PlayStation emulator working on this, using EPSXE, and I have made little batch files to start each game. So, let's say I want to play Spyro the Dragon. I know he's in here somewhere. There we go. Just double click on the file and the game loads. And this again is being played in 1280 by 720. And looks really, really good. But anyway, enough about that. And for those of you who want to see the script that I used, well, here it is. And obviously for different games you just put the whatever file name it happens to be in there, and it works. Anyway, enough about that. That's the end of the good news. Now a little bit of bad news. And here's the bad news. My oscilloscope has sort of died on me. I was using it the other day, and when I looked at the display I noticed that it was getting fainter and fainter and fainter, so I decided I'd quickly turn it off before something started smoking or exploded. Looking at the circuit board, I'm going to do a brief analysis of this and possibly try to fix it in the next video. Doesn't look like there's any swelling capacitors in there. Everything looks okay. You can see that the original capacitors are still in there because there's so much glue around them that it's just impossible to remove those without breaking the circuit board. But I did test those, make sure they're not going shorted or anything, and they're okay. And you know, as you know, I've soldered the replacement capacitors on the other side of the board, and that all seems to be okay. There is one suspicious looking capacitor in here, if I could just get the camera onto it. Right there, this one looks like it's at an angle. This one that's right under the heatsink. Doesn't look like it's bulging, but it could be bulging at the bottom there, or maybe that's just been put in that way. This transistor here looks a little bit dodgy. You can see it looks a little bit burnt, and you probably would be able to see if the camera would actually focus on it. Now it's probably been like that for some time, you know, gotten pretty hot during its life, and maybe that's what's caused it to go wrong, because you might be able to make out that the circuit board around it's quite discoloured. Although it's not really showing up on the camera, but I can see quite a bit of discoloration there. You can sort of see it better now. So maybe that one's just given up. So what I'm going to do with this thing, when I test it, is, first thing I want to do, is I want to test that everything in this is not pulling any more current than it should. And this is the main the only transformer, the only power transformer. So it's all on a linear power supply, so I've got no switch mode stuff to worry about. You can see it's got the voltages and the rated amperage on there. We've got 6.3 volt there, which undoubtedly is for the filament on the CRT. Strangely enough, it seems to go into this circuit board here, and then goes into the thing, so I don't know if that may be powering something else on this board. I can't really tell where else that may be going to, because they put all this sort of rubbery, plasticky gunk all over it. I don't know what that's for. Maybe that's for extra insulation. So it could even be the high voltage that may not be working, which is more than undoubtedly behind this box here, this metal box. There's probably a flyback behind there, or maybe a voltage booster, or maybe a combination. And I imagine that is powered off the 170 volt rail on the transformer, so I've got to be careful of that. Don't want to zap myself. So this transformer, we should have 16 volts at 0.6 amps, 170 volts at 80 milliamps, and 6.3 volts at 0.24 amps. Anyway, my camera's battery is running out now, so I better just do that in the next video. That's it for now, so until next time, goodbye. Ah, it's the ugliest thing in the world here, running joke again. People say I don't hold the camera very steady. Well, this is holding the camera steady. You want to see holding the camera unsteady? Okay. Right, this is holding the camera unsteady. So now you know what holding the camera unsteady is really like. Welcome to the EV blog. No, I'll talk normal. Gotta give yourself a promotion.